So when we're craving hot Cheetos, that's
nature.
Hey, welcome back. My name's Nadia. I hope everyone's doing really well today. We're going to be looking at some fat acceptance arguments that appeal to nature.
Shout out to nature.
The appeal to nature fallacy occurs when we argue that something is good, justified, ideal, or inevitable because it's natural.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay because it is natural. It's natural.
Or when we invalidate something based on the fact that it's not natural.
It's not right. It's not natural.
Natural is not a synonym for good. There are plenty of things that are natural that we would categorize as less than ideal.
After all, it's only natural.
Well, diseases are natural. Doesn't mean we have to give in to them.
Let us remember that cancer is also natural.
And every single thing has to kill to live. Killing is nature.
Arguing something is ideal because it's natural lands us in a lot of weird places.
You're not allowing natural selection to do its work. Pfft, the guy invented the seatbelt.
As with all our fallacy videos, we have to ignore the rampant misinformation in the arguments and basically approach them at, even if this were true, this is flawed reasoning.
People hate people that are different from them. It's natural.
If it were true that people naturally hate people who are different than them, that would not be a justification for being hateful to someone who's different than you. We need more than naturalness per se to argue for or against something.
People think like preferences is just a get out card. Where does your preference come from?
Yeah, where do your preferences come from? I don't know how many times I have heard or seen people say, oh, it's not that I'm fat phobic. I'm fine with fat people. It's just, not my preference.
Our preferences not being natural or innate is something we hear a lot from fat acceptance activists.
A lot of times when people are asked, why don't you date fat people? They will say, it's just a preference. I'm just not attracted to them. I can't make myself be attracted to someone I'm just not attracted to. The implication here being that preferences are innate, unchanging, and completely independent of any outside factors or societal norms. Like, it's not fat phobia, it's just who I am. I can't help it.
The argument usually sounds like that. Our preferences aren't natural, they're socially conditioned. The implication of the argument is that maybe if preferences were completely natural, they would be unproblematic and legitimate.
Maybe, in an ideal circumstance, in a world that was forever body neutral and did not demonize fat people, that could be a preference.
We don't have to think hard about why that logic fails us. If someone were able to prove that their preferences were completely natural, regardless of how much harm they caused others, nobody would care. The naturalness of a preference isn't enough for us to determine whether it's problematic or not. If you can't read the screen, this TikTok says, reminder, your body tells you what it needs. Diets teach you not to listen. And this is one of the more absurd appeals to nature.
You were born with everything inside of you to tell you what you want to eat, when you want to eat it, how you want to eat it, and it's kicked out of you. That's white supremacy.
Our bodies are very literally differentiated from ourselves in this movement, with ourselves and society being the issue, and the bodies being neutral and natural vessels we reside in. Or, as this activist put it, your weight is none of your business. It's your body's business. Stay in your own business.
Psycho talk.
And all that sci-fi weirdness aside, the argument is simply that our bodies are trustworthy because they're natural.
So diet culture and fat phobia trick us into thinking that we can't trust our bodies. They make us think that when our bodies tell us what they need, that they must be lying to us or that we must know better than they do. When they tell us they're hungry, we're not supposed to feed them.
So when we're craving hot Cheetos, that's our bodies tapping into the infinite wisdom of Mother Nature.
Nature.
Following this logic, everyone should always act on any urge, craving, impulse, desire, whatever signal their body sends them, because they're natural. What could go wrong with that?
So much.
Some people have incredible natural urges to harm the people around them. Doesn't mean they're correct and doesn't mean they should indulge them just because they're natural. But fat acceptance has landed at, if we were meant to count every single calorie or gram of a particular nutrient in a food, Mother Nature would have developed nutrition fact labels a long time ago.
Yeah, sure, that makes sense.
I've never seen an iPhone growing from a tree or wild animals with clothes and makeup on, but Somehow I doubt fat acceptance would argue that those things are pointless just because Mother Nature didn't give them to us. Tangent to this is the idea that intentional weight loss is wrong because what animal in nature have you ever seen try to lose weight or restrict calories?
I think it's time for another adult pre-K lesson.
What animal in nature have you ever seen filming a TikTok? We don't get to pick and choose when we're modeling our behavior after animals in the wild.
Hear me out. There's no such thing as good foods or bad food. There's no such thing as good foods or bad food.
In most instances, when the expression, "there's no such thing as," is being used, it usually means this is a social construct, not intrinsic to nature. As such, they believe that invalidates it. Side note, she's giving this lesson about how there's no such thing as unhealthy food while munching on a known carcinogen.
There's no such thing as good food and bad food, or even healthy food versus unhealthy food unless you're allergic to it or something like that.
I got us donuts. Those are so bad for you. Oh no, are they moldy? I mean, are they poisoned? Are you allergic? No, I'm just saying. You're judging my food choices based on a false standard of health again, aren't you? Guilty.
Again, the claim that this is a false standard of health is based on the idea that health is not natural, it's a result of social constructs. So there's no such thing as good, bad, healthy, or unhealthy food because this is a concept we've created outside of nature.
Health is a social construct.
And by this logic, most of everyone's entire life isn't real. Because existing in a society means navigating a matrix of social constructs every single day.
I know this steak doesn't exist. The Matrix is telling my brain that it is.
This is basically how civilization is achieved. So we need more than "it doesn't exist" or "it's not real" to explain why all food should be treated neutrally.
This is my natural body weight. It doesn't matter how healthy or unhealthy I eat, my body's coming back to this body.
And I am just naturally fat.
The idea of obesity being natural or being naturally fat is the last appeal to nature we're gonna break down.
And we were never, I'm not a thin person. There's not secretly a thin person inside of me. They might still believe that a fat person is secretly a thin person.
Saying I'm naturally anything doesn't make it correct or inconsequential. But that's what's implied in this argument.
When you use the term overweight, it implies that a fat person is over their natural body weight.
That's the alternate version of the argument. There's no such thing as being overweight because our bodies decide what size is best for us. Again, even if we play along and pretend weight is in no way behavioral, by this logic, we basically wouldn't bother with healthcare because our bodies know what's best for us, right?
There have always been fat people and there will always be fat people.
Illness has always existed. That doesn't mean we stop trying to treat it. Starvation is natural, but we still want to solve world hunger. Whether obesity is natural or not, people are losing their lives and quality of life to it.
At least it's of natural causes.
We're going to end this with one more post from Fat Acceptance that says, "The satire is the science around calorie intake. Nature proves this out. Hippos prove that eating grass, salad, and exercise aren't the answer to losing weight." Pointing the finger at hippos to explain why you, a human, should do something or are capable of something is pretty intuitively flawed reasoning. Birds don't prove we can fly, and fish don't prove we can breathe underwater. We're gonna end this one here. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end if you're still here with me. Let me know what you thought down below. I'm curious if anybody saw the whale this weekend. I live in the middle of nowhere, so I can't see it anytime soon. So I'd like to hear some opinions, thoughts on it if you did get to see it this weekend. I'm gonna have another video up really soon. Everyone take care until then. Bye.